Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Today I am going to be doing the Lifetime Milestone Tag video. I'm really excited to do this one. I just did the booktuber newbie tag, but I wasn't actually tagged by anyone. I just saw that a lot of new booktubers were doing this tag video, so I decided hey, I nominate myself to do it too. But I was actually tagged to do this one by Sammie Talks. I will leave her video that she did down below. I believe she actually just started a new channel, and I think it's called The Bookish Spirit, but I will also leave a link. I'll leave the link to her video that she did for this tag, and then I'll leave a link to her channel if you guys want to check her out and subscribe. Thank you for tagging me. I will be tagging some of you as well, and that will all be in the description box below. And this video is kind of, you have to pick a book for each milestone in your life. So we go from birth all the way to death and then a few in between, and you have to pick books that correlate with that. I was tagged a while ago to do this video, but it took me so long to come up with my final list and what books I wanted to feature and what books fell into which areas that we're doing for this tag video. But I finally have my list and I'm ready to film, and I really hope you enjoy this video. So the first question in the tag video is birth, and it is the first book that an author wrote. And I chose Something Borrowed by Emily Giffin. And I chose this because I absolutely love this book. And this book was kind of something that inspired me to start Chick Lit Plus. I read it, I borrowed it from a roommate that I was living with at the time. I read the book, and it just moved something at me. It just made me excited all over again to kind of follow my passion. And I mentioned in one of my very first videos that I knew I always wanted to be a writer and do something with books, but I didn't think it was very practical. So I went to a business college and got my bachelor's degree. And it was the very last year that I read this book, and I thought, okay, I need to do something more. And I think it was 3 days after reading this book, I started Chick Lit Plus, and everything just went from there. And the next one on the list, we moved to Child. This one was, we had to pick a book that was fun to read, very enjoyable, and I tried to think of my childhood and what I was enjoying reading then. And of course, I had to go with something from the Babysitter's Club. And I chose Kristy's Great Idea by Anna Martin. This was all I read when I was a young girl. I know I mentioned in a previous video that I actually started reading the books at a little bit too young of an age. And I found out things like the Tooth Fairy wasn't real and things like that from reading the Babysitter Club books, which my mom wasn't very impressed by. But these are just, when I think of my childhood and I think about what I was reading, it was the Babysitter's Club. I owned so many of the books. Who was around my age didn't love the Babysitter's Club? Because I feel like you're lying if you say you didn't. I feel like you're lying. And then we move on to school, and we were to pick a book that takes place in a school. And the one that I chose for this is One Breath Away, and it's by Heather Gudenkauf. And this one is set in a school. It's a pretty serious book, though. It's actually about a gunman in a school. It was really hard to put down, but yeah, kind of the main focus is this gunman in the school and the events that happen from there. Then we move on to our teenage years, and we are to pick a book that has a main character that is troubled or has a lot of angst. And this book kind of popped in my mind right away. This is Pulled Within, and this is by Marni, Mann. And this is actually a second book in a series. There's also Pulled Beneath, which kicks off the Bar Harbor series, but the books can be read as a standalone. We meet the main character, Ray, in the first book, but just very briefly. And the second book is all Ray's story, and she has a lot going on. This book was on the pretty dark side, and Ray, in the first book, we kind of get the feeling that we're not going to really like Ray and things like that, and then we actually get more into her story in this book. But I mean, I would definitely say she has a lot of angst. She has a lot of anger. She just has a lot of issues going on in this book, but it was so hard to put down, I know. But I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed both books in the Bar Harbor series. But yes, if you're looking for a book with a lot of angst from your main character, I feel like this one would work. And then we move on to our adult years, and we're to choose a book that has like an adult theme or a lot of hardships. And I chose Things You Won't Say by Pekkanen. I'm probably not saying that right at all. I just thought I'd go for it and like say whatever first came to my mind. That doesn't sound right at all though. But I'm actually listening to this one right now in the audio book version of it, and I am completely enjoying it. But there is a lot of adult themes here, a lot of hardships. The book actually follows a cop who is involved in a racial issue, a white cop who shot a Hispanic boy, and there's a lot going on in the book. I would say it is a very adult book, but I keep walking my dog like even longer, and I keep stretching out our walks because I'm like, wait, I don't want to stop listening. I don't want to go back in my office and go back to work and stop listening to this book because it is really good. And then keeping on the adult theme, we were next going to choose a book that features a career that we love. And I chose Lake Como, and this is by Anita Hughes. Anita's one of my favorite authors. When I saw like choosing a career, I was like, it has to be someone from Anita's because I just love her books and they inspire me so much. But in this book, the career is actually an interior designer. And don't laugh, but I'm like on a huge interior design kick right now. Something I wish I could do, honestly, it's interior design. I don't feel like I'm very good at it, but I wish I could. And right now I'm like totally into YouTube videos, watching design tips and like decorating tips and all that. So I thought this book would be really funny that I could share that with you guys. There's also a lot of travel in the book as well, and I love traveling. So if I could like make a career out of traveling, I would do that too. And then we move on to marriage, and we were to choose a book with a powerful romance. And I actually chose The Life List by Chrissy Anderson. This book it's the first in a trilogy. And it's kind of funny because it mostly involves an affair. So I thought that was maybe not the best book for a marriage book, but there is a powerful romance in this story, you guys. And this was a book that I couldn't put down. It was a book that made me like so unhappy so much while reading it, but still I couldn't stop reading it, and I still gave it a 5-star review. I mean, I'm gonna try really hard to find my review so I can link it for you guys, but this book it was really, really incredible to read, and I loved the entire trilogy, so I highly recommend this one. On to children, and we're supposed to pick a book that has children as the main character, and this one I was a little stumped by for a few minutes because I don't really read children's books, or like I read a little bit of young adult, but those aren't children, so I was like, what in the world would I pick? And then I remembered The Babysitter's Club. I was also a fan of Babysitter's Little Sister. So I chose Karen's Carnival, and this is by Anna Martin as well. And I chose this one because I remember reading it as a little girl. I mean, I have no idea how old I was when I read this book, but you know, Karen and her friends put on a carnival and all this stuff, and I was like, I can put on a carnival too. And I spent an entire day drawing up like what booths I wanted at my carnival and what friends I wanted to like be at which booth, and it just both the Babysitter's Club and the Babysitter's Club Little Sisters, they just gave me so many fun ideas to do as a little kid, and so I had to include that in here as well. And then we move on to our midlife crisis, and we were to choose a book that has a crazy or unexpected plot twist. Me is Breaking the Rules by Kat Lavoie, and I was like, can I put this one in here because this is a book from my own publishing company? But I was like, hey, this has a crazy unexpected plot twist, so I need to mention it. Breaking the Rules, this was Kat's first book, and she actually hired me first as her editor, and I was reading along, it's chick lit, if you can't tell from the cover, really enjoyed it, and then all of a sudden the plot twist happens, and it was like, that's what it was like. I'm not going to say anything more because I wouldn't want to ruin it for you at all, because I would want you to make that same expression when you read this book. And now we move on to grandchildren, and we're to pick a book that has like a strong family element to it. And you guys, if you've watched my other videos, you know how much I love The Seeds of a Daisy by Alison Kayola, and this follows really closely a mother-daughter relationship, and they have such a strong bond that I just knew I had to include it for family. Coming from someone who doesn't have a father, I I related to this book a lot because of the mother-daughter relationship and the relationship that I have with my own mother, and I loved this book. I thought I had the print copy somewhere, but I've like torn my office apart and I can't find it. I don't know if I'm going crazy or what. Maybe I sent it to my mom, actually. Mom, did I send that book to you? I can't remember. But that one was the one that I absolutely loved. I gave it 5 stars, as well as book 2 follows it, which is The Silver Cord. And then the very last one, we come to death, but it's really not too sad. But we had to pick a book like in a series or trilogy or duology that was the very last book, and we didn't want to see the series come to an end. And I immediately thought of the Girlfriends series by Savannah Page. And this is When Girlfriends Find Love. I believe there was 7 books in this series, and we follow a group of girlfriends through the whole series. We just get another, like the main point of view from each different friend along the way. And one of my favorite series, I'm planning to do like a top 5 chick lit series coming up here soon, and this was the very first series that I put on there. Absolutely love it. I was really bummed to see it come to an end, even though that might sound weird considering there was 7 books to read, but I enjoyed all of them. Savannah Page is such a good writer, and these were such good chick lit books, but also focused a lot on friendship. Those are all the books in the Lifetime Milestone Tag. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you again, Sammie, for tagging me to do this, and I will be tagging some of you next, so please check the description box. I hope to have a few more tag videos for you guys soon. I've been seeing so many fun ones come up, including a Disney one, which I'm like, yes, I'm all over that. I want to do that one. But I think these are so fun and a way to like bring the community together, but also to get people talking about what books that you would choose. So if you know of any books that you would have chose for any of these lifetime milestones, please let me know. Or if you had any that you actually would like agree with me with, which would be kind of wild, please do let me know. If you do like the tag videos, please give this a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye.